How is everybody doing? It is cold up on top of this mountain that we call the Premier League. Thank you so much, Aston Villa, for doing us a major favour and absolutely manhandling the child that is Arsenal. And also, it's been a great day for Liverpool fans. We won with a gasp victory goal from Harvey Elliott. Go top of the league. Man United get absolutely fingered by Bournemouth with Dominic Solanke looking like a prime Cristiano Ronaldo in the theatre of nightmares, shall we call it. And then, just to top it all off and put the cherry on top, not only do Arsenal drop points, they lose. And now Liverpool sit alone on top of the Premier League with the most goals scored in the Premier League and the least goals conceded in the Premier League. So everybody that has had a negative thing to say about this team can get in the fucking sea. And everybody knows who I'm talking about. So anybody that has anything to say negative about this team, regardless of the performances today, while there can be improvements, they can get in the fucking sea. I don't care. We are on top of the fucking Premier League, and we don't even have a DM. Hold that, is all I'm going to say. Now I'm done. I've been saving that rant all day. However, I'll pass it over to my panel, and we'll see how everybody else is doing today following such good news. Toy, how are you, my friend? You were one of the people that was a little bit negative earlier today, but I'm sure you're very, very happy today. Very, very happy considering now that we're sitting on top of the league. I think you're of the same opinion as myself, just critical of the performance rather than negative, and don't care how we win as long as we win is probably your attitude, similar to my own.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, where do we start? It's been a hell of a day. Did not start out too promising, let's be honest, for the first 70 odd minutes. But I mean, this is what champions are made of, honestly. And unfortunately, I wish we could have won the last few games convincingly and just made it a much easier time on my fucking heart. but at the same time, I'm not going to complain, of course, about where we are with what we have compared to everyone else. It's been such a weird season. I mean, coming off just that Villa win just now, beating Arsenal, it's weird. It's so many just turns and twists, and oh man, I don't know what's happening or why it's happening, but we're at the top in this muck. And yeah, I think if anything, I'm just so happy we're here because this gives us all the incentive we need to go into the winter window with purpose and say, if we nail this, we will win. We will win if we nail it. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's exactly the same way I'm looking at it. And the way that I look at this weekend is very similar to how Kobe Bryant answered the question of I don't remember if it was in the finals or the Western Conference Championship games. It's one part of those series when he was asked, how do you guys feel after that really good victory? Job's not done.
Job's not done.
Job's not done. Yep. Job's not done. Yep. If we're still in this position in April, you'll hear us starting to get a little bit excited about it. Job's not done. Long time to go yet. Carter, my friend, how are you feeling after today? A bit of a roller coaster of emotions. We got a little bit of a nervous game with ourselves. However, we still came out with our 3 points. Then we have Man United getting absolutely pumped, which everybody's going to be happy about. And then now on top of this, we have Arsenal dropping points to Aston Villa, which means we move ahead of them by 1 point in the Premier League and sit at the top. How are you feeling today after this now?
I'm good. I'm very excited for the next few games. Glad, to be honest, we're not playing Aston Villa in the next few. But yeah, it's looking good. I was very, very happy to see almost like an AXA midfield, like the sort of academy midfield of Trent, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott. Like, I was really impressed with them. It was just a good last 20 minutes, and obviously an enjoyable Villa Arsenal for anyone who's watched just before the stream. So it's been a good day of Premier League football, and as you said, Dominic Solanke, great performance as well. It's just been a good day for Liverpool.
Yeah, it has. Hassan, there's a bit of interference there. That's why I just muted you a little bit there. So I think that's probably what that was. But I'm going to unmute you now because you can unmute yourself, whichever way you want to go about it, to get your opinion on how today has gone. Because it has been a very, very, very emotional day, ups and downs, yet at the end of the day, we sit on top of the mountain. How are you feeling about today?
Yeah, really, really good. That's why I came to the stream. Uh, the way we played, it was not promising at all. And as Jurgen said, that for 76 minutes we were really poor, and again we won the game. So it was really good. And the thing which excited me, the substitutions are really working this season. Whenever we make substitution, they come and they are positive, especially Harvey Elliott. When he came on, he changed the game. Gomez was playing like a man possessed, and Gapco was also really influential, uh, which we were missing in the first half and start of the second half. The quick one twos. So really good. Really excited for the upcoming games, especially United.
Yeah, I am too. I think the midweek game is going to be a nice, relaxing game where we get to watch a lot of the fringe players and some youth players play. So hopefully we get to. I particularly don't want any of our starters playing in that game. At least any of the main players, and then we have a game against United. Now we all joke about United. However, it's a game that all players get up for, and it's like a division rivalry, so to speak, that you'd find in the NFL or the NBA. It doesn't. It it's a weird game. It's always a weird game. Everybody's up for it, but United's engine is suspended next week. He's not there. Bruno Fernandes, as much as we hate him and as much as we think he's a ratty little cunt, he's not there. He got his 50th yellow card today, and he's suspended for that game. So that's something that we don't have to worry about. So that even whatever their catalyst would be for their creativeness out of the midfield is not there anymore. So that even leans furthermore into us. But I'll just get into a bit of housekeeping things. Jen, again, thank you so much for your £4.99. It is very much appreciated. It all goes back towards the channel. And to be honest, at this stage, you're giving so much, we might as well send some over to John Henry and the boys. Maybe fund some transfers, because that's that. You're the person that got us Ryan Gravenberch, Endo, Soboslai, and McAllister in the summer. So, best way to look at it. You're the one that's funding this transfer window. Thank you so much, Jen. It's always very much appreciated. It all goes back into the channel, and you know how much we love you as well in this channel. Thank you so much. Just as well to let everybody know to please do like and subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell notification for all future videos and streams. We're 149 away from getting to our 10,000 subscriptions mark. So let's try and get to that hopefully before the next transfer window. And yeah, it's you're getting Kev for Christmas. I figured as much. That's not surprising at all. If a big fat man in a red suit comes and kidnaps him, I let him know not to be worried, that it's you that wants him for Christmas. Jen, no problem about that. But I want to get into a couple of statistics from this game from a couple of players. And the first one that I'm going to get into is my man of the match, which is Alisson Becker. Since the start of last season, now this is last season, this is a year and a half, a season and a half, we call it so far, because we're just about hitting the halfway point of a 38-game season right now. I'll go in reverse order from who's prevented the most goals since the start of last season. Andre Onana at 2.8, Jordan Pickford at 2.9, Neto at 3.3, Kaminsky at 4.8, Bernard Leno at 8.1, and standing well alone at the top of that list is Alisson Becker, who since last season has prevented over 11 goals. 11.3 goals he has prevented. And today he saved us 2 points. Whatever about Harvey Elliott's goal, whatever about Salah's goal, Alisson Becker was my man of the match purely because he saved us in that last gasp save in the dying embers of the game. I gave my opinion on the game earlier in the post-match stream, but I'll get none of you guys were on with me, so I'll get your opinions on it and what you thought happened, what you guys thought of the game and what went on there. So I'll start with yourself, Carter, on this one. You watched the game earlier. Give me a couple of your thoughts, positives, negatives, and who would have been your man of the match.
So I'll start off first big positive. I think that's the first time I've seen sort of Gomez at full speed in quite a while. I think that was that bit where he sort of ran down the line and you're like, this looks like old pre-Burnley leg break Joe Gomez. I thought was really happy for him to come back. I think he's longest serving player now. So want him to do well. Then I think probably a negative, I'd say, is Gravenberch isn't really like taking the game by the scruff of the neck as much as you'd maybe like. Like when you obviously sign him, this might have been sort of one of the reasons why he maybe struggled a bit at Bayern, as sort of playing off the pivot. I don't think he would get involved enough and come and get the ball enough for them. And you're kind of seeing that now in this game and maybe some of the other previous games, where you would like sort of with his stature and with his ability, we would maybe like him to say, "Oh, come get the ball, turn and play." Doesn't have to beat his man every time, but you'd maybe like to see him a bit more involved, like almost like Curtis Jones does, where he just, even I know people had to go at him for the Man City game, but he did come and get the ball a lot, and that's something like Gravenberch. Like I don't know how many. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Elliott and Jones had almost as many touches as Soboslai and Gravenberch, and they played for about 15 minutes. Like it just seemed like they weren't even playing. Like it was just they just weren't involved enough. But yeah, apart from that, I think just good resilience. Quansah did well apart from one or two sort of hospital passes to Endo. But apart from that, it was all right. It wasn't the best, but you just got to sort of mule through these games, and you just got to hope that you start to sort of pick up and the results match the performance.
Yeah, I agree with you. To your point about Harvey Elliott, I have his stats here from the game. 100% pass accuracy, 100% of his duels won, 23 of 23 passes completed, and a goal. Impact sub in block letters, perfection from Harvey Elliott, as you mentioned, and you feel like he would have had more touches than Gravenberch. I feel for Gravenberch a little bit, not so much that I don't think he's performing, but purely from the fact that I think we don't know what our midfield is yet, which is absolutely terrifying. If we're this good and this mentality with the midfield that hasn't been 100% figured out yet, and we don't know how to maximize Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, McAllister, Endo, when Trent is in there as well, which side he prefers to play. That's still a very tinkering process at the moment, and that's absolutely terrifying, because if we get that right, we walk the league. We walk the Champions League next season. We walk any competition next season. Seriously. Tully, you weren't on the post-game stream earlier with myself, but you had some negatives at the start of the game, as you mentioned. I say negatives. Negatives probably is the wrong word. There was some people that were just being outright negative, and I've said nothing other than negative things. But there's some people that have been positive, and then there's other people that have just been critical. And there's a clear difference between being critical and being negative. Negative implies the connotation that you don't see any good. However, you had your mouth promptly shut very easily after 70 minutes. But give me a couple of your thoughts on the game, your positives, your critiques, we'll call them, and who would have been your man of the match. I think Hellier makes a good point that we just can't include Alisson anymore. It's just not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. I agree. I feel bad for everyone. Yeah, I mean, man of the match obviously has to go to Alisson. No question about it. That's straightforward. I mean, this guy just like refuses to stop impressing me with what the crazy shit he does. Like, I mean, he just does things that I think surely aren't possible, and he makes it look so easy. And that's exactly why, as we kind of know from the Fulham game, when I was in the chat kind of going off on Kelleher, it was all because we have Alisson. I'm sorry, but we have this reference point that has made it basically impossible, not just for Kelleher, but for any backup goalkeeper, I think, out there to look good, basically, right? There are just saves that we know Alisson makes that no other keeper does, right? And that's really unfortunate for whoever the hell is backing up Alisson, basically. So that's kind of where I was coming from back then. I mean, obviously, great to see he's back. And there was like no rust, right? There was he looked like nothing ever went wrong. Like he was great. Positive. Trent in midfield, I think if there is a single game where I thought, okay, that's it. We're done with this right back thing. He's officially a midfielder. It's this game. Because the second he moved in there, we let Joe move off to the right. It was like, oh, whole different game. Whole different game. Of course, at that point, Crystal Palace down to 10 men. But at the same time, you can just see, you have to do like a pros and cons. Where does he deliver the most value? And for me, it's clear as day that's officially the midfield. And it's now to the point where I say, screw getting a 6. If we can find the right back to come in, bring the right back and officially move Trent into midfield, because that's who he is. He's doing it for England. It's official there. Make it official for us as well. Cons, we still fall into this trap of when we play these teams like Crystal Palace, who want to make it just a really start-stop, disgusting, foully, in the mud trenches kind of game. We let teams do that to us instead of imposing ourselves on them, and that's something that I think we need to work on. And I really hope that that's something that post January, once we kind of have the final team for the run in, as we kind of get to that part of the season, that's something that we do. So, other than that, ugly win, but it's a win. A win's a win.
Yeah, win's a win, baby. That's the way that I look at it. Jimmy G says, "Just win, baby." Or is that what Jimmy G says, or is that what Al Davis used to say? I can't remember. One of them, anyway. Just win. That's all. That's all we want, realistically. And I have Trent's stats here for you: 100% dribbles completed, 32 passes completed, 5 of 8 long passes completed, 3 crosses, 3 chances created, and 2 clearances. I think I'm in agreement with you. I think if we went and got a solid right back, or even allowed Joe Gomez to play as a right back and purely a defensive right back, screw the inversion, just purely a defensive right back that will overlap when in possession, but also be able to track back. I think we could push Trent into midfield myself, and just I think that opens up a world of possibilities. Play him alongside Szoboszlai, or even move Szoboszlai to left centre midfielder and Trent as the right centre midfielder, and have it that way, and even have McAllister in behind them, because I think that midfield trio is terrifying. Even if McAllister isn't an out 6, I think having those two in front of him will provide an awful lot better cover, in my own opinion. But that's nuts. Hassan, it is very late over where you are at the moment. I know that it's just gone past midnight for you, but you're up partying. Liverpool are top of the league. Everybody's loving life. Couple of your thoughts, positives, negatives, critiques on the game, and who would have been your man of the match?
After the game, I saw the tweet and I instantly tweeted that Harvey is the man of the match. But looking back, it's Alisson, because he saved us. And negatives for me is the form of Diaz and Szoboszlai. I don't know why Szoboszlai started really well for us, but in the last 3 or 4 games, he is not imposing himself and not going past players like he used to do. So this is a bit worrying, but hopefully he'll get back. And for Diaz, after the injury, he was lethal in the left side. But I've seen in this season, the scoring goals and all is all coming from the right side. But after the substitution, he started playing on the right and on the middle. He was more effective there. So maybe we'll have to look at it. But for left side, we need somebody with left foot also. We don't have only Simicas plays there who's left-footed. Robo, when he comes back, he's the only one. I think we should find another one who plays on the left side. And the positive, as I said before, were the substitutions. They are working wonderfully for us in all the games. And these matches, when we come back, are a lot isn't. These are the ones which felt really good.
Yeah, I believe so, and it was discussed earlier on in the post game stream about the refereeing decisions, and I seen a comment come in here that I wanted to fire to you guys from Aldoreza, where it's he or she or they says, guys, has anyone questioned how the ref stopped the game after 2 minutes of play to award a penalty to Palace, but they said they couldn't stop the game, disallowing the goal to Liverpool against Spurs? The reason, to my understanding, and please somebody feel free to correct me in the comments about this, or somebody to correct me on the panel, the reason that they didn't stop it and reverse it during the Spurs game is because a new phase of play had begun and a free kick was taken because of the offside, meaning a new phase of play was in place and it couldn't happen. Similarly to how it happens in the NFL, that if a play is to be challenged or a play is to be reviewed, if the offense snaps the ball and runs another play, it's gone. It's done. It's history. You can't go back and pull the game back and review it. The ball never went out. If Liverpool went and kicked the ball out and on the sideline and Palace had a throw in, they couldn't go back because a new phase of play had begun. But because the ball had stayed in possession for a minute 45, that's why they were able to call it back and give a penalty. A very soft penalty, in my own opinion. I don't think it should have been a penalty. Other people disagree with me on that. I'm happy to debate them on it, but I don't think it was a penalty. I then think the yellow card that came after it, for the second yellow, that is, for Jordan Ayew that came afterwards, I feel that was a bit of a make-up call because of the soft penalty. Look, you take them when you get them. I'm not saying that we didn't get away with one there. We got out of there with 3 points when we shouldn't have deserved it. I think, Helior, we do deserve to call ourselves mentality monsters, purely because of this stat that I'm about to share with you now, seeing as you love your stats. Liverpool have scored more winning goals in the 90th minute or later than any other team in the Premier League's history. 40% of them have come under Jurgen Klopp since he joined. 17 out of the 43 in total. We're on 43. The next team after that is Arsenal on 32. Mentality monsters. 17 goals have been scored in the 90th minute or later by Liverpool since Klopp has been here. That's nearly half. That's over half as many as the next closest person. So if we were the next lower one down, 50% of our goals would have been after the 90th minute. So I still think we should be able to call ourselves the mentality monsters. But I'm going to get into a couple of other topics here as well, and I get some questions from you guys on players. We got Trent stats, we got Harvey stats. Mo Salah, 52 touches, 32 passes, 3 shots, interception, played like shit for 70 minutes, then goes and bags an assist and a goal. What can he do other than just hand the man his flowers? Hassan, Mo Salah, 200th goal, and I'm going to give you this interesting stat as well because I scoured Twitter looking for this. Ian Rush, 346 goals. He averaged 1 goal every 165 minutes. I don't know if you've seen this. How much do you think Salah's average is? After hitting his 200th goal, now considering Ian Rush has 146 more than him.
No idea.
Carter, Tolly, do any of you have an inclination of how many?
What is it, like 140? Wait, do you mean minutes per goal or
minutes per goal?
130 maybe.
Yeah, Salah averages a goal every 130 minutes, which is 32 minutes less than Ian Rush with 146 goals more.
That's not bad.
That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. And he's 5th now in our all-time scoring list as well with that statistic. And Carter, I'm going to throw this at you as well. Liverpool are top of the league. We've lost 1 game since April. We have the best goal difference, most goals scored, least goals conceded. I'm fucking clueless as to how we're actually this good, considering we're watching the games. Is it still, are the mentality monsters back? Is it just a do or die at this point?
I think with us, we have just so many players with like a ridiculous level of quality. Like if you actually look at how many people can just win you the game, like obviously I'm not saying he's as good as him, but there's times where Elliot today, and this is really blown out of proportion, he looked a little bit like a slower Messi. Like when he just sort of shifts it, and you've got him and you've got Soboslai, I know people are hating on Nunes or whatever, but Nunes can win you games, Diaz can win you games, Gakpo can, Trent can, Tsimikas has shown he's got the ability to create, Van Dijk can win you a game off a corner. We literally, I think, we're not even playing that well, but our players are so good that someone will just step up, like, every time. And you think the amount of players, like, I thought this game, I was like, I wish we had Jota to bring on, because he's another one where the ball just comes off Joel Ward's backside and he's there and he just taps it in, or even if you maybe, I know you kind of think he's like a bit of a myth now, but if you had Thiago, I think maybe we play better. If you have Matic, maybe he drives us up the pitch and finds a pass. Like, we've got so many players that can just win us the game. And when you look at the team City put out the other day, I don't think Rico Lewis can, I don't think Akanji can, I don't think Gavardio can, I don't think Diaz can. I think we've just got so many players. Like, if you look at Arsenal as well, Zinchenko maybe. I don't think Gabriel. I don't think White. Havertz. I think we've got maybe nine players on the pitch that can win you the game, and we've got 3 subs who can as well.
Yeah, it is genuinely bonkers, Tolly, really, when you think about it, that this is, and we said it when Arsenal beat Luton 4-3 and how they came back from that. That's how champions perform, and Arsenal were very much on a run of form that they were just playing horribly and winning, and it kind of caught them out a little bit today. To be honest with you, I don't even think it caught them out today. I think just Villa got an early goal, quick snap goal. Arsenal were the better team for that whole game, and they just couldn't break. Am I back?
Yeah,
You're back. And you're gone again. Yep.
Oh, don't be doing this. Am I back? I think I can hear you.
It's doing it. Yeah, you're back. You're
Can anybody
back.
hear me? Am I
Yeah, we
back?
can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, thank fuck. What I was saying is Arsenal have been playing terrible and they still haven't been able to get their results. Thanks, Demo, for that. That's probably the best description you could possibly give on it. United don't have a defense. That's the way that I look at it. Apologies, internet providers and whatnot. There's a storm going on here in Ireland at the moment that has everything up the fucking walls. But Arsenal, we gave them credit that they are performing like Premier League winning team, that they're playing poorly but they're still getting their 3 points, and they played like miles better than Aston Villa did in this game. I just finished watching it before we started the stream, but we're back. We're on top of the Premier League at the moment. Let's hope we have the same situation to say when we're in April and it's squeaky bum time and we're getting there. But as it stands right now, I think we're in a very, very good position. I genuinely believe that. Now, a question that I'm going to pose to everybody who had watched the game today is in relation to Jarrod Kwanzaa. Jarrod Kwanzaa completed 46 of his 54 passes in one half. That's one half. And was taken off then at what minute was he taken off? I can't remember. I can't remember when he was taken off specifically. However, I think we have found a gem who may save us £80 million in a transfer window. And Totally, myself and you have discussed this before, Hassan as well and Carter as well. We've all discussed it, but I think it's absolutely magnificent watching this young man develop before our eyes. And as mentioned earlier, the fact, and you guys have mentioned it too, the fact that Jamie Hughes mentions it here, we're not playing well. We have Andy Robertson to come back. We have Thiago to come back if he ever does decide to play football again. We have Stefan Bajcetic to come into this team. And then we have signings that are going to be coming in on top of it.
Yeah.
This team could quite literally go on and win another 2 or 3 Premier Leagues. Jamie Hughes mentions here about the pressure on a 20-year-old. I mean, you got to try him in some way, shape, or form. You got to put pressure on him in some way, shape, or form. You can't wrap him in bubble wrap, unfortunately. It needs to be a trial by fire. Evan Ferguson made the point when he said that he had trials for Liverpool, that Liverpool wouldn't have been able to put an 18-year-old in that position to allow him to develop. We're putting a 20-year-old in that position to allow them to develop. We need to take a risk on that. Otherwise, we're going to end up spending money on players rather than developing internally and saving ourselves money. That's the way that I look at it. And realistically, he's 20 years old. He doesn't work out. But as it stands at the moment, I think he's going to work out fantastically. But we are going to get on to some transfer news that I have here. And the first news that is according to the Dutch outlet Soccer News, Netherlands, Liverpool are working on signing the Benfica winner Kyanno Silva, who for about 200k, who is his deal is looking to go. Hassan is gone, just like United's defense. We are looking to sign a 200 grand player, which you wouldn't think would be all that much. However, an 18-year-old right-footed winger who can use both feet and is registered as an ambidextrous player that can play with both feet, can play on both wings. I believe he can also play up the centre as well, which is very, very good for us. He plays left winger and right winger. He's only 18. He's a Portuguese guy. He's also from the Netherlands. I think this kid could be absolutely fantastic. I looked into him a little bit. Benfica don't want to lose him essentially for nothing, so they're going for him now. Get about 200k from another youth guy to come in on the wing, possibly to help and go along with Ben Doak and Salah. Tully, is this the kind of business that you want to hear about? Like youth guys coming in to build up a squad, or would you rather it's just let's go for the big boys? We're in it. We're in a title race right now. Or do you like a mix of both?
I think it's two separate conversations, right? So it's by no means is that going to be someone that we obviously throw in to the title chase, right? Someone who's going to come into the first team, right? It's just not going to happen. So never heard of him before today. Probably won't hear about him again until we either sign him or we don't. That's pretty much it. So, of course, Benfica youth products, we love them. I think all of Europe loves them. We know what they come with usually, but always a fan of bringing in talented players and letting them develop with us. So, not against it, but in terms of is it connected to, is it going to block bigger boys coming in? No chance.
Yeah. No, that's the way I look at it as well. Hassan, with the business that we normally do, we do an awful lot of business behind closed doors. But the signing of a 200 grand 18-year-old winger that could play in the under-21s and then could move into the main squad itself behind like Ben Doak or even alongside Ben Doak and be deployed on either wing. To me, this kind of maybe sends a sniff of Diogo Jota or Diaz possibly being moved in the next 18 months. Do you have any fears of that, or would you even welcome that at this moment?
No, not until he comes in and show what he can do. Then we'll decide. Before that, maybe not, because as Carter said, today game was screaming for Jota. I was wishing that he was fit, if he would have come in. And moving forward, I am really excited about when Thiago decides to come back. He maybe he'll be a catalyst for us going forward, because the quality that guy brings is magnificent. So uh, I am thinking about yesterday also. Why on earth Man City let Gundogan and Mahrez go? They're really good players, and Gundogan in the last run in used to become prime Ronaldo, scoring goals, and he was the difference in last 2 seasons in the last run-ins. So for us, maybe when Thiago comes in, he frees players going forward. He makes really good tackles and really good. He sees the game differently. So him, Robertson, Jota, Bajcetic coming in will be really, really exciting. We are doing it this without them. Imagine they are coming back in this team.
Yeah, it's. I think investing in youth, Carter, is always a good thing, purely because it allows a recycling of your players. You're not all of a sudden scrambling trying to sign a big player that you have depth, or even trying to sign depth players, because everybody wants to be a starter. But if you have a young guy that's already come up through the phases, similarly to a Kwanzaa who's 20, he knows what's ahead of him. He knows there's probably positions been promised to him in the next couple of years. He just has to do his time, wait it out, and get there. Similarly to Doak, similarly to Cade Gordon, Chambers as well, and what's the midfielder's name that I'm trying to think of? Begins with it's McDonald. That's him. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm Bradley as well as Vesa Flowers mentions here, and going to play in Belgium. Signing youths or signing big players, or a combination of both. Which business would you like us to focus on in January, realistically, considering we are in a title race at the moment?
I think it should be both. Like, if there's a good option, I think we should go out and get it. But I think sometimes if there's like a number 6 who we think is just all right, is there a point? Like, I'm not saying we've kind of got Endo, who's that kind of player already. But also, do you remember who the last player we went over to Europe and signed for £200,000 as a teenager was?
No, go on, enlighten me.
Stefan Bajcetic. And you think of how good he's come on to be. I personally think if you look at McAllister, Gravenberch, I really like Jones. All of them, I think Bajcetic can be better than all of them. I think he's got all the tools. And I think if you sign 20, £200,000 players, you only need one to be a £50 million player. And we're Liverpool, no matter what. If you look at someone like what's his name? Elijah Dixon Boner or something who plays for like QPR now is doing all right. Our players, at least, we maybe not got the reputation of Chelsea or Man City at the moment to sell our young academy players for 15, 20 million, but we can still fetch like 4 or 5 million and you're just churning a profit. Like, I just don't see why we wouldn't bring in these young prospects. And even then, it's a bit like Chelsea or Brighton. Like, Brighton have got like 80 players on the books. Like, you bring in, you can send them out on loan when they get to a certain stage. I don't think it hurts, but I think if we see players like maybe more the centre half because of Matip being out, and I do think Quance has been great, but I do think you saw sort of the difference in physicality between him and Ibu. But I think we're still going to be opportunities. Like, as much as everyone wants to sign someone, I just think unless there's someone who they're like 100%, as much as we might like Wi-Fi or you like Florentino Luis, if Klopp and co aren't 100% on a player, I think after signing Endo and the Kabak and Ben Davies or Ben Williams, like after those things, I think it's got to be a 100%. Like, I think we'll look at the team and say, we've got enough to manage. You've got like Owen Beck, you've got these young guys. Bajcetic hopefully comes back. In attack, you'd maybe say if Cade Gordon's a bit older than Ben Doak, like, you would hope that we have players to come in and take these little minutes, because there's no point us signing. Trying to think of there's no point of us going out signing an Anthony type player who they're like, oh, we know him, he looks good, and then you sign, you're like, well, actually, he's not very good. So I think we'll just see. I'd like to sign someone, but I hate to say it, but I could see us going through January and having no signings.
We said that in the summer too, but then we ended up with 4. So Liverpool do an awful lot of their work behind closed doors. I trust that, like, we technically, out of the 4 midfielders that we got, 3 of the 4, purely because one of them is 30 years old, 3 of the 4 could become world class. And 2 of the 3 have the potential to nearly be world class in 2 years' time. That being McAllister. To be honest, all 3 of them do. Really, all 3 of them have the ability to become a world class midfielder. And if we have 3 world class midfielders out of one window, and we spent less than £140 million on them, that's nuts. That's seriously good business. Tolly, something that needs to be mentioned as well, and I think Jamie Hughes mentioned it here. We had a little bit of a discussion of it in the post-game stream. I think it's purely just because Palace are a very, very, very physical team, is how much Endo was kind of being pushed around today. And I agree with it to a sense, but it's purely just the fact that Endo, I think Endo isn't, he's not a 6'2" destroyer that can take a ball to his feet and do a quick turn. He was asked to do something different with Stuttgart, and he's not that he's been asked to do something different here, but it's more so just that he's being asked to try and do multiple things. Did you feel like he got a little bit bullied today? And is Endo the kind of player that you have to deploy against a particular type of opposition?
I don't think he got bullied necessarily. To me, it just seemed like he was almost looking for fouls that he maybe was used to getting in the Bundesliga that he's just not going to get here in the Premier League. I think the officiating when it comes to that physicality is much more loose when it comes to the Premier League versus the Bundesliga, because I could see why he was kind of going down when he went down, because to the untrained eye, right, we look at that and it's a foul, right? Like, that looked like a foul, but in the speed of the game with the physicality in it, it's not. And I think he's still getting used to that aspect of the league as a whole. And especially with the pressure he's going to get in the role that he's playing, because obviously he's coming to Alisson most times, getting the ball to feet, and immediately he's going to have someone on his back. And I think he's definitely still adjusting to that responsibility. So I don't think it's necessarily a physicality thing where he's just not strong enough and he doesn't have the skills to kind of work himself out of those positions, because he does. But it's more a case of just getting used to that speed, that physicality, that level. And can he? I think he can, but at the same time, there is a ceiling there. So we shouldn't look at Endo as by any means the guy who's gonna, if we need someone like a proper six destroyer, we know that's not him. So we shouldn't try to force him to be that guy because he's not that guy. But he definitely has plenty of other things that he brings to the table. Leadership for sure. Definitely has calm, collectedness. Never looks rattled either, which I think is something that I've been really impressed by. And his passing has also been really good. He does have that ability to pick out a great line breaking pass. So there's plenty of things he brings, but we also have a lot of eyes on him. A lot of people who are talking about him not being to the level that we need, and especially when you're in the middle of the park with Sabazlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, all these star boys, and then you have, oh, here comes old man Endo, right? Like that's how people are looking at him, right? Like, so you kind of got to feel for him, right? You kind of got to feel for him. So I appreciate him for what he is and what he brings, but we just have to be realistic with it and we'll be fine. Just, don't sell yourself a dream.
Freaking old man Endo. Fucker's only 2 years older than me, you prick. Second you said, oh look, here comes old man Endo. All I can picture is him walking out with a Zimmer frame. Oh my god.
That's how we talk about him, man. That's how we talk about him.
I know, we call a 30-year-old ancient, and here's me sitting at 28. I have a little bit of news for anybody who's an FPL manager, and I'm going to share it with you now for tomorrow's game between City and Luton. Haaland isn't playing tomorrow. He's out. He's not playing. So I don't know why he's not playing, but it's been reported by a lot of good sources on Twitter, one of which is City News. If I can find it, I'll link it in the chat. But apparently he's not playing tomorrow. And anybody who's an FPL that has him captained, well, you better hope your first sub and your vice captain was a good choice. Mine was Salah. So my vice captain was Salah. It's one or the other every time. That's the way I look at it. My vice captain is Salah, and my first sub is, let me see, who is it? Ward-Prowse against Fulham tomorrow. Watch him go and hit a hat trick. Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. But JMUs, you're only as young as you feel. I wouldn't worry too much about it. You're two endos. Oh God. No, it is. It's interesting, but there's guys that are going absolutely nuts in our streaming group chat that have Haaland as captain, and somebody put Nunes as vice captain. Poor Mihai. Mihai is the one that had Nunes as vice captain. I'm so sorry, Mihai. Actually, I'm really not. I'm currently in the lead of our Fantasy Premier League at the moment. I want to see what everybody else has done. I'll just take 2 seconds to have a look at this because this is going to be hilarious. Damon has Alvarez as his captain, so I'm not all that worried about that. Be interesting though to see what happens tomorrow with that Luton game. It'd be very, very interesting.
Tricky game.
It's an away game too, and as Faza Flowers mentioned, he pisses pants if Luton can hold him. I think I'll start doing backflips if Luton hold them tomorrow, because that would mean we're then 7 points ahead of City, which is nuts. But yeah, what we're going to do now is going to discuss the last topic of the day, which is a possible Mo Salah replacement that's been discussed previously in the season. That is Jarrod Bowen. West Ham have said they're unwilling to sell him. However, they've set a price tag that anybody that wants him is going to have to pay over £100 million for him. Hassan, I'll start with yourself on this one. Do you feel that Jarrod Bowen is anywhere worth the £100 million price tag?
No, but there's that English premium for him. He's a really, really good player, but he's not Mo Salah levels. He will be, if you look at, he can be a Jota replacement or someone like that. But for Salah, we need to go really big when he decides to go.
Yeah, I can understand why people would view him as a replacement, because I'll give you the numbers straight up. Jarrod Bowen has 9 goals and 1 assist, and that's in 14 games and through 16 games in the Premier League anyway. Mo Salah has 11 goals and 7 assists, which is 18 goals or assists, 18 goal contributions in 16 games. It's nuts. And Jamie's mentioned 65 at the most. He's not worth 50 pounds. He wouldn't be worth 50 pounds. He was foreign. That's very true. And Jamie's mentioned 65, and Lee mentions that we won't pay it at all. Carter, I'll come to you again on this and just mention, like, do you think this is even a plausible decision for any team to make? Like, Bowen's after signing a 7-year deal. Is there any even point in trying to entertain that, or is it a situation of let them have him?
I think for West Ham, like, although recently it's got better, like West Ham's recruitment, especially strikers, has been so bad, like, over the years. Like, I think we lot remember maybe like Skamaka, Haller, Vazte, Andy Carroll. Like, they've just never hit one. It's always been like they're sort of hoodoo. And I think for them, he's there till 2030. He's married to Danny Dyer. Like, he's so entrenched in West Ham that he gives them.
Danny
no,
Dyer
Danny Dyer's daughter. Danny's...
Yeah, I forgot that their name is the same thing.
Like,
sorry, Carter, go ahead.
No worries. He's so, like, entrenched in West Ham, and I think for them, the amount of goals he gets, like, is just so much. Like, I think sadly for us, I've just thinking about that. If we maybe had a striker less, I think the only person who's got more goals and assists since maybe the start of last season for a non-top 6 side is Dom Solanke. And I think, I'm not sure if it's still valid or if it was real, but I think I saw a thing that we had like a buyback of like 40 million. And you could imagine now, if we maybe didn't have a Gakpo or a Nunez, for that amount of money, you couldn't go wrong. I just think it's just too much money. And probably as well, you'd want someone with maybe a bit more athleticism than Bowen, just because it's easy when there's loads of space and West Ham haven't got the ball and they're punting the ball up to him and he's got all the space and time. But I'd like to see how well he do sat in the corner against 5 centre-halves or 5 defenders. Like, it's not as easy when you're playing for Liverpool. Sometimes it's easier because you get better supply and you get more chances. But a lot of the time, when we're playing those deep blocks, it's not easy. Like, I'd rather have someone like Michael Olise.
Yeah, Olise would probably be my particular option as well. He's dangerous. When he came on today, I felt a bit worried about him. Tully, yourself, it's English tax, it's Premier League tax, as Vesa Flowers mentions. He wouldn't be worth 50 million if he was foreign. Are you in much of an agreement with this? Like, he's a 7-year deal. There's no way we're going to get him out of that, even if we wanted to, for less than 120, 130 million, in my own opinion, because it'd be stupid business by West Ham to let him go otherwise.
We would get absolutely slaughtered by every single football fan if we got anywhere near that number. I mean, we would never live it down. That would be Coutinho level mistake, and we're the Barcelona. Like, it would be bad. He's an amazing player. He's a great player. And I don't think it's fair for any of us to look at Salah and say he's not Salah level, because Salah wasn't Salah level either when we bought him. All right. Salah got to that level with us. There's only one player in the world that's a like for like or an improvement, and that's Mbappe. That's it. And that's the only person that I would ever entertain spending more than 100 million for, period, out there in the moment in any position in the market. So for Bowen, no shot for that price. Is it going to happen in front of that price? Like we just said, probably not. But I have nothing but respect for him because he's clinical. He doesn't get that much with West Ham, and he makes the most of it just about every single time. So hell of a player. I would love him at Liverpool, but not under those conditions.
Yeah, it's. I think it's just a bit of a non-starter, in my own opinion. I don't particularly rate him all that much. I know Charlie, one of the other hosts that's in here, mentions that he thinks he'd be a perfect Salah replacement. suppose everybody's entitled to their own opinion. If I agreed with him, we'd both be wrong. I know. I think he's a great player. I don't know how well he'd fit into our system myself. I'd need to watch a little bit more of him and see how he would relate to Salah. I was just looking it up on Data MB at the moment, and Salah is worlds ahead of him. His expected goals is 99 point, like in the percentiles range, 99.1. Bowen's is 73.4. They're similar in successful dribbles, progressive carries. Salah triples them. Assists, Bowen is non-existent in that level. Salah's in the 94th percentile for that. Key passes, 89th percentile for Salah. Offensive actions, 58th percentile for Salah. And Jarrod Bowen at West Ham is just very low down on the list for an awful lot of them. He's very much a self-creator rather than creating for others, and Salah seems to make everybody around him better, is the way that I look at it. But with that, we've kind of come to the end of the stream today, and my busy week of hosting 5 different streams. So you've seen enough of my face for this week. We will be back again tomorrow at 7:30. Lou will be hosting tomorrow's night, so make sure that you're around. And as Jamie says, happy holidays, everybody. It's Christmas, and we've just been given the best present ever by Aston Villa. So everybody go and give them some love. And thank God we don't have to play them anytime soon. We hope they hit a dip form the next time, because Unai Emery has some team there. They are terrifying. I can see them getting Champions League. But let's see what happens tomorrow with Man City against Luton. Tough away game for them if they don't have Haaland, which means I just get an extra couple of points in my I get an extra 13 points because Salah's due the 3 bonus points. I get an extra 13 points in my Fantasy Premier League, so that's going to help me out massively. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We have we've one last question, and I think this is going to be interesting because it is pertinent. Do we think Ten Hag will get the sack tomorrow? I think if they lose against Bayern or get embarrassed by Bayern and then get embarrassed by us, he's gone before Christmas. That's my own personal opinion. Hassan, I'll give you this one as well, and then I'll go to Carter and Tawley as well. Do you think Ten Hag gets the sack before Christmas? Hassan, can you hear me? You're not muted, buddy. I don't know. No, we can't hear you, buddy. Can? No, he's not. He's not on mute. Like that's him on mute there.
It's just not working.
It's not working. Do you have a headphones or something you can fire in? Do you have you put yourself on mute? Hold on. I'll pull you out and I'll put you back in again. See if that works. No, nothing working there. While Hassan grabs some headphones, Tolly, I'll pass the question over to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to happen this side of Christmas, or what's the situation?
That just wouldn't be very nice, would it? That would be a horrible way to start a Christmas. So, Man United, that's a family club. They're good people over there, and I don't think they'd want to do that, right? So, I'm with you. I think it takes a bad performance at Bayern, which I don't see it being anything but a bad performance. Like, I just don't see them coming out of that with any kind of confidence. And then against us, we're gonna go for the jugular. Like, I know we will. We always do. And that 7-0 is going to be living rent free in their heads. So those 2 results go the wrong way, and he's gone.
Yeah, that's it. Hassan, do you want to talk there and see if we can hear you? No, I'm getting nothing from you, Hassan, unfortunately. I don't know what's up with it. You're not on mute anyway. I've double checked it to make sure of it. You're a little bit frozen as well. I can't necessarily see you. Nothing coming through, Hassan, unfortunately. I don't know if it's a mic jack in your phone or whatever you're using at the moment, but I think just it's not working at the minute.
These comments are killing me, by the way.
Oh really? Why is that? Man United fans are idiots.
No. But like, it's a tradition. I like that. I like traditions.
I like traditions too. Carter, I'll ask you that question. So, and we'll finish up. Apologies, Hassan. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why we can't hear you at the moment. What do you think yourself? Do you think it'll take a couple of bad performances, or what's the situation going forward?
I think in a normal year where there's not maybe a takeover, a sort of small cameo from someone like Shaqiri or 2 goals or a 7-0 could definitely see a manager getting sacked. But I think if the takeover is going to happen, it just makes no sense. Like, because obviously I don't know, maybe they would allow like Jim Ratcliffe to make a decision on who they bring in, but it's better to just stick with Ten Hag, because no matter they did previously, like last month, 3 games, no goals conceded. Like that, I just don't think if there's going to be no owners, why would you hire someone new, give him a contract that you then have to buy them out of when the new owner comes in? I think normal year, yeah, like he's annoyed Varane, he's not on well with Sancho. Obviously, Rashford, who's a big asset's been dropped. Like I could see it happening, but I just think with the takeover and stuff, everything hanging over it, I think they'll just ride it out. Like I think we could, unless it was really bad, like unless it was like we set a new record and we went for like 9 or 10, I think he's going to be in the job. I think he could survive another 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I to be honest with you, I genuinely think that he's on the way out. I think he's on his last legs purely because I think Radcliffe's coming in. It hasn't been done yet. I think Radcliffe's going to come in the January window. I think he'll hit just before the January window, and then that'll be him. I think Ten Hag will be told, "You're gone in summer. Good luck." But realistically, it's 18 months, $500 million spent. 0 managers have been fired for less. So I don't see how he's not going to get anything done with it. But it's disagreement with another player. Jay Musey probably has disagreements with every fucking player on that squad lately. They said it's hilarious because Man United came out and they said we've banned X, Y, and Z from reporting on us and being in the interview rooms because they've leaked from the team. And then I'm like, okay, but did they leak false information or no? And there was never a clarification on it. So they're like, stop telling people we're shit. And I'm like, that's essentially what happened. And I'm like, you didn't even deny it. You just said that stop telling people we're shit. Stop leaking stuff from the news. Apparently, the players turned around and said that they thought Jadon Sancho was training like an absolute animal, and they feel he should be integrated back into the squad. And then there's the likes of them not liking the fact. Now this pissed me off as any football fan. They say they're being trained too hard. You're being paid a couple of $100,000 a week, you silly fucker. You're going to train as hard as you're being told to train. Oh God, you have to run a couple of laps. Get in the fucking seat. If any player was like that with Liverpool, I'd want them gone, because that is piss poor mentality. And that's me even saying that as a Liverpool fan about Man United players, because I always used to enjoy the Man United rivalries. And don't get me wrong, I'm loving this downfall. But at the same time, I like a competitive game as well. And if we walk into the game next week and next Saturday and pump 5 past them in the first half, it'll break the internet for a couple of weeks and it'll be a great Christmas present. But it's just one of them things. Hassan, I'm going to try and unmute you again, and we're going to see if we can get you talking here. Hold on, we'll see. Hold on, we'll unmute. It's not. Jesus, it's not even unmuting you now. It's not. I'm clicking unmute, and it's not unmute.
Yo, the system knows. The system knows what's going on that.
Can you try and unmute yourself, Hassan? We'll see if we can get a couple of opinions. Jesus, we're having a fucking abysmal stream today, guys. Fuck me. Hassan, go on. Start talking there, buddy. We'll see if we can hear you, because there's nothing coming through at the moment. Nah, still nothing. Well, fuck it. Next time, Hassan. Next time. There's just nothing coming through at the moment, I'm afraid. I do apologize about that. Always happy to have you on, though. I'm very, very sorry about that. I think it might just be the mic jack in your phone or something along the lines of that, because there was a lot of interference beforehand. I don't know what it was. But today's been a good day. Liverpool won. Man United lost. We got to laugh at them. And Arsenal lost. And Liverpool finished on top of the Premier League table. Fantastic Saturday. And now let's go into tomorrow and hope Man City get absolutely pumped by Luton Probably won't happen, but sure, look, Haaland may not be playing per reports, so you better hope your vice captain, if you've captained him, is a good option. But thank you guys so much for joining us. I do hope everybody has a lovely Saturday night. Thank you so much, Jen, for your $4.99. As always, helping the channel out immensely. Make sure you like and subscribe. Help us hit that 10K mark and make sure all your notifications are on for all future streams and videos. And we will see you guys tomorrow night at 7:30. Hopefully still sitting 7 points ahead of City. Thank you guys so much, and I hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday evening.
Beautiful.